Chosen one, there is something I was placed in front of you today to say, and I am not going to wait until the middle of this message to say it. You passed. You passed a test that was never announced, never put on a calendar, never explained to you in advance, because it could not be. The season you have been carrying, the weight of it, the confusion of it, the prayers that seemed to fall into silence, the doors that would not move no matter how long you stood in front of them, that was not randomness, that was not abandonment, that was the precise, intentional preparation of someone who is trusted with something significant. God does not announce the test before it begins. He announces the result after. And today for you, the result is being read. You did not fail. You did not miss it. You did not fall short. In the moments that demanded the most of you, when no one was watching, when there was no visible reward for staying, you stayed. That was the whole exam. And now something that was locked behind the proving of that season, something real, something specific to your life, is being released. Stay with me, because what you are about to understand will reframe everything you thought that season meant. Before I go any further, I want to tell you what is inside this message, because I do not want you to reach the end of it and feel like you missed something important. By the time we finish, you are going to understand exactly what kind of test you were in and why it had to stay invisible to count. You are going to see the 3 specific things that were being built inside you during the hardest moments of that season, things that are going to matter enormously for where you are headed. And at the very end, I am going to speak something directly over your life, a declaration that I believe is going to seal what God has already confirmed about you. Every part of this message matters, so stay with me all the way through. Now, let me take you into the first thing I want you to understand. When most of us think about being tested, we picture something we can see coming. A trial with a shape, a challenge we can brace for, a moment that announces itself as significant while it is happening. And there is a reason we expect it that way, because that is how most of the world works. But the tests that shape the chosen do not work that way, not even close. The tests designed for chosen lives are invisible, and that invisibility is not a flaw in the design. It is the entire point. Think about what would happen if God announced the test before it began. If He said to you clearly, "This next season is your exam, watch how you respond." Everything you did during that season would be a performance. You would manufacture patience because you knew patience was being graded. You would push through bitterness because you understood faithfulness was being recorded. Your response would be constructed, rehearsed. And God does not want your rehearsed response. He wants your actual character, the unedited version, the one that comes out when no one is watching and there is nothing visible to gain from being good. So the test arrives without a label. It arrives wearing the face of a hard season. It looks like delay. It sounds like silence. It feels like confusion, like questions that never got answers, like a version of your life that seems to be moving slower than everyone around you. And inside that disguise, something is being revealed that could not be revealed any other way. Your actual character under pressure. And I want to be honest with you about something. Chosen ones do not receive ordinary tests. The exam that was placed in front of you was not designed for just anyone, because not just anyone is being prepared for what you are being prepared for. The greater the assignment, the more demanding and specific the preparation must be. This is not cruelty, this is precision. God does not over-prepare. He prepares exactly as much as the weight of what is coming requires. There is a man in Scripture who understood this only in hindsight. His name was Joseph. And Joseph received no letter from God explaining what the next 13 years of his life would mean. He was thrown into a pit by the people closest to him. He was sold. He was wrongly accused of something he did not do. He was placed in a prison and forgotten there. At every single stage, he had no context, no explanation, no timeline, no visible proof that any of it was leading anywhere. But something was happening inside those invisible years. Joseph was being formed into someone who could hold what was waiting, because the authority that was prepared for him on the other side required a man who had been tested in betrayal and still chose integrity, a man who had been discarded and still chose to serve with excellence wherever he was placed, a man who had been lied about, reduced, overlooked, and forgotten, and still chose not to become what his circumstances tried to make him. And when the season of preparation ended, the release was not incremental. It was not a small step forward. What came out of those invisible years was the leadership and provision for an entire generation of people. The test was never about what Joseph lost. It was about what he became. And chosen one, I want you to hear this next part with everything you have. I hear the Father saying today, and these are the words being placed on my heart for you. I watched every moment you thought I had gone quiet. I saw every prayer you held out in faith when the answer did not come. I saw the nights when the silence felt too heavy to carry, and I saw you carry it anyway. I saw the moments when walking away would have made complete sense, and I watched you choose differently. That choosing, that quiet, invisible, unwitnessed choosing, that was the exam. And it was real, and it counted, and I recorded every single moment of it. The test was real, chosen one. Everything you carried during that season had weight for a reason. The reason is simply this: what is being prepared to move through your life is not small, and the one who carries it must not be either. But I have not told you the part that is going to be the hardest to hear, and also the most important. Because the test was real, yes, but what you may not yet understand is what was actually being tested inside you during that season. And when I show you that, everything is going to click into place in a way it has not before. Most people assume that when God tests someone, He is primarily watching what they do, their actions, their visible behavior, their outward response to difficulty. And those things matter. They are not nothing. But in the tests designed for the chosen, the deeper target is never just behavior. Behavior can be managed. Character cannot be faked. There were 3 specific things being tested in you during this season, and I want to name each one clearly. The first was your faithfulness underneath silence. Not faithfulness when everything is confirming you, not faithfulness when you can feel the presence and hear the direction and see the signs moving around you, but faithfulness when the silence stretches so long that holding on starts to feel like you might be holding on to something that is not there. That is a completely different kind of faithfulness. It does not come from emotion. It comes from something settled so far below the surface that even the hardest silence cannot reach it. And that is the faithfulness that was being revealed in you. Even in the moments when releasing would have been completely understandable, you held. The second thing was your identity underneath pressure. Pressure has a way of stripping away everything that is not truly you. The roles you perform, the version of yourself that exists to make other people comfortable, the image you maintain when you know someone is watching, all of that falls away under real and sustained pressure. And what remains when it falls away? That is the person God is looking at and saying, yes, this is who they actually are. This is the person I can trust with what is coming. And the third thing, the one I want you to sit with for a moment, was your willingness to remain chosen without any external confirmation. This is the hardest test of the 3, because it is one thing to hold your identity as chosen when the world is affirming you, when the doors are moving, when the people around you are speaking life into your calling, and everything around you lines up with what you believe about yourself. But to hold that identity when none of that is present, when the external world is giving you every signal that maybe you overestimated yourself, maybe this is not who you are after all, to hold it anyway without any outside validation, that is the test that separates those who are ready for what comes next from those who are not ready yet. You held all 3. Now, I want to share something with you that connects the spiritual reality of what you just walked through to something happening on a very real level in your brain, because I have found that when God is doing something significant in a chosen life, the confirmation tends to come from more than one direction. People who carry what you carry, people who were born with a naturally higher level of what scientists call gamma brainwaves, they feel the weight of suppression more than anyone else. Researchers at institutions like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and Princeton have studied what happens to the human brain as we move from childhood into adulthood, and what they found is a pattern they call the decline effect. From around the age of 7, the brain begins suppressing these gamma waves, the same waves associated with deep intuition, clarity, rapid learning, flow state, and what some researchers describe as a God-given operating capacity. The state where everything clicks, where the right thought arrives without forcing it, where you feel like you are working with something larger than yourself. That suppression happens because of sustained stress, because of systems that are not built for minds like yours, because of the demands of a world that does not know how to protect what was given to you. And here is why this matters to you specifically. The reason you felt so heavy during that season, the mental fog, the quietness of gifts that used to feel louder, the sense that you were operating below what you knew yourself to be capable of, that was not weakness, that was your gamma under an extended season of pressure, and the reason it hit you harder than the people around you is because you were born with more of it. The gap between the fully activated version of you and the suppressed version is larger for someone like you, which means what is on the other side of activation is also going to be larger. A neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying exactly this, drawing on research from 6 major universities including MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Berkeley, and Columbia. What he built, after all of that research, is a 7-minute audio track that uses a technology called brain entrainment to guide the brain back into its natural gamma state. Not through meditation, not through years of training, 7 minutes with headphones, and the brain begins to remember what it was designed to feel like. Over 18,000 people have already used it. The experiences they describe sound less like a supplement and more like a reactivation of something that was always supposed to be there. It is called the Genius Song. Dr. Lake made it available at $39 for people watching this video, which is $10 below the standard price, and it comes with 4 additional resources included at no cost. There is only one place to access the version with the actual brain entrainment technology intact, with the full money-back guarantee behind it, and that is through the link I have placed in the description below and in the pinned comment on this video. There are imitation versions circulating that are just regular audio with no technology built in, so please do not look for it anywhere else. This is not a replacement for what God is doing in your life. It is a tool that runs alongside it. If your spirit has been going through a proving season, the mind and brain that carries that spirit deserve to be fully activated on the other side of it. Now, stay with me, because there is one more layer underneath everything I have just told you. And it is the layer that is going to make the last season of your life make more sense than it ever has before. Before we go any further, let me bring you back to what we have covered so far, because I want to make sure the ground beneath your feet is solid before I take you into the deepest part of this message. We established that the test you walked through was real. It was not a random hard season. It was not punishment. It was an invisible exam designed specifically for someone with a specific calling. We looked at why it had to stay invisible to be valid. We looked at what was actually being tested inside you during that season: your faithfulness under silence, your identity under pressure, and your willingness to remain chosen without any external confirmation. You held all 3. And now, I want to give you the final layer of this, because there is something underneath everything I have said so far that I have been building toward from the beginning. The test asked one thing of you that no one could have coached you on. that no amount of preparation could have manufactured. It asked you to hold your identity as chosen in the complete absence of proof. Not for a day, not for a week, for an extended season where the silence was the only thing speaking, and you did not abandon who you were in that silence. You did not slowly become something else. You stayed yourself. Faithfulness without confirmation. That is the answer to the final and hardest question the test was asking. And now I want to show you what that answer unlocked. Here is the truth that changes how you see everything. What God releases after approving. Season is never accidental, and it is never small. But it also cannot arrive before the season is complete. And I want to be very clear about why. Because this is the part that is going to reframe the entire waiting period you just came out of. The provision, the clarity, the right connections, the doors you have been standing in front of, all of it was not being withheld because you were not ready in terms of desire. You wanted it. You prayed for it. You believed for it. It was being held not because of any failure on your part, but because the person who would receive it and carry it well had not yet fully formed. Not because you were not good enough, because the weight of what was coming required someone who had been tested under that specific kind of pressure and had come through with their character intact. Think about it this way. You do not hand an inheritance to a child before they understand what to do with it. Not because the child is not loved, but because the timing of the giving determines what the receiving produces. Give a seed too much water before its roots are deep enough, and the water washes it away. Give the same seed water after the roots have gone down, and it becomes fuel for growth. The delay was not rejection. It was protection. God was protecting the gift by first making sure the one who would carry it was ready to hold it without it destroying them. Every closed door during that season was a closed door for a reason, not because you were being punished, because you were being sized up for something that requires a specific depth of character to carry well. And here is what I know about what comes out on the other side of this kind of season. It is not incremental. It does not trickle in slowly to test whether you are grateful. When God releases what was locked behind a heavy proving season, the release matches the weight of what was required to earn it. Light season, light release. A season that cost you the way this one cost you. What comes through on the other side of it is proportional. And chosen one, what was required of you was not light. So, I want you to receive this now. Before this message closes, I am going to speak something over your life that I believe is going to be a seal on everything we have walked through today. So stay with me to the end. What I have at the close of this is not more information. It is something I want to speak directly into your spirit. But first, I need to take you to the deepest part of what I came here to tell you. Because everything we have discussed, the test, the invisibility of it, the three things it was building in you, the reason the release had to wait, all of it has been pointing toward one truth. And when I say it, I want you to let it fully land, because this is the truth that recontextualizes everything. You were not waiting for the blessing to arrive. The blessing was waiting for you to become the person who could receive it without losing it. And now you are that person. That is the whole thing. That is the mega truth underneath all of it. You have spent this season wondering when things were going to change, when the doors were going to open, when the prayers were going to receive an answer that you could actually see, and the entire time, the answer to those prayers was being formed inside you, not outside you. You are not the same person who entered that season. The person who walked in and the person who walked out are not the same. The test did not just delay you, it defined you. And I hear the Father speaking this over you now, and these are the words being placed on my heart for you in this moment. You came through. Not just through the hard circumstances, but through the deeper thing. You held your character when everything was designed to erode it. You stayed faithful when faithfulness had no visible reward. You remained who you were when the world gave you every reason to become something smaller. And what you became in the hidden season, that is what I have been waiting to release through. Not just into. Through. What is coming is not just for you. It is going to move through you and reach people you have not even met yet. Now I want to say this slowly, because I want every word to land. You went in asking if God still saw you, and you are coming out knowing you were never out of His sight. You went in wondering if the waiting had any meaning, and you are coming out holding the meaning in your hands. You went in carrying a question about who you were, and you are coming out as the answer. You went in faithful in secret, and you are coming out known in the places that matter. You went in with a test you could not name, and you are coming out with a result that cannot be taken away. That is who you are, chosen one, not delayed, not forgotten, not behind. Chosen, tested, and proven. You are not alone in this, and I want you to know that. Right now, all across the world, there are chosen ones going through this same reframe, sitting with this same message, receiving this same understanding that the hard season was never what it appeared to be. If someone in your life has been unusually quiet lately, if you know someone who is in the middle of what feels like an invisible and unexplainable hard season, send this to them. Not to help a channel, because they need to hear that what they are in has a name, and that the name is not punishment, the name is preparation. And now, I want to do what I told you I would do from the beginning of this message. I want to close this by speaking something directly over your life. So wherever you are right now, however you are listening to this, I want you to turn your attention inward for a moment. Not to anything you have to do, not to any action you need to take, just to receive. Let what I am about to say land in the deepest part of you. Father, we come before you at the close of this message with something we have not always been able to say clearly. Thank you. Thank you for the season that felt like abandonment and was actually attentiveness. Thank you for the silence that felt like distance and was actually the sound of preparation. Thank you for closed doors that were protecting us from arriving too early to what was meant to receive us at full capacity. We do not always understand what you are doing while you are doing it, but we are learning to trust the design. You saw every weight that was carried during this proving season. You saw the prayers that went out in the dark when no one else was there. You saw the moments of choosing faithfulness when bitterness would have been so much easier to hold. You saw the quiet decisions, the unseen sacrifices, the version of this person that existed in private when no one was watching. You saw all of it, and you called it good. You called it passing. So right now, we release the story that said this season meant forgotten. We release the belief that the silence was an answer of no. We release the comparison to every person around us whose life seemed to be moving faster and whose movement we took as evidence of our own delay. We release the ceiling that was built out of unanswered questions and unresolved confusion. We release the weight of carrying something without understanding it. We release the version of ourselves that was formed in the hardest moments of the test, the contracted version, the defensive version, the version that learned to expect disappointment. We release all of that now, and we do not pick it back up. What was locked, we now activate to open. The provision that was held back until the season was complete, we call it forward now. The clarity that could not come until the character was formed, we receive it now. The right connections, the people who are supposed to be in the next chapter of this life, the doors that match the person who came out of this season, not the person who went in, we activate them now. Not because we are begging, because the test is complete and the release is a natural consequence of what has been proven. We cover what is beginning to move with protection. Guard the rising. Guard the gifts that are reactivating. Guard what is being built from exposure before it is ready. Keep away from this chosen life every force that would try to use the breakthrough as a weapon, and keep every door that is not meant for this season firmly closed. And now, chosen one, I want you to receive this declaration. Say this in your spirit, even if no sound comes out of your mouth. I am chosen, I am tested, I am proven, I am not behind, I am not forgotten, I am not delayed. I am exactly where the design requires me to be, and what was locked behind this season is being released into my life right now. I receive it, all of it, not partially, fully, because it was always mine to carry. Do not move on from this just yet. Do not click to the next thing. I want you to sit in what was just spoken over you for just a moment longer. Let it settle into the part of you that has been waiting the longest. Let the words reach the places that have been holding questions without answers. You do not have to do anything, just receive it. It is done. It is sealed. And you can walk into what comes next knowing that the result of the exam has already been recorded, the grade has already been given, and what God prepared for the person who would pass, that person is you.